Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's International Limerick Day, Tony. What you got?
There once was a man so heinous, his life filled with such utter grayness, that he couldn't see how funny it'd be to make light of the state of Uranus. That's funny. That's funny.
See, you have to tell me it's funny, then it's not funny.
Everybody here laughed at that.
I didn't hear it.
All the camera people laughed at that. The only person who's
predictable.
not laughing is because you're such a stuck in the mud about a funny word like Uranus.
What you got the heinous? It was obvious.
Another one of your words. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Roger Goodell is pushing it. The Pelicans fire Monty Williams, and John Wall wears a questionable outfit. But we begin today with the punishments to Tom Brady and the Patriots. Brady got 4 games. The Patriots got a $1 million fine and lost a number 1 and a number 4 draft pick. Yes, a number 4 pick, oddly random. Robert Kraft strongly objected in a statement, and Brady will appeal. Wilbon, did the league go too far?
I don't think so, Tony. I mean, given all that we've known now for the past few days about the Wells report and the reaction and what they allege, and the back and forth between now Yee and Wells is sort of fascinating. It was a tough punishment, and I think it's going to come down. I don't think Brady's going to wind up serving 4 games, being suspended for 4 games. I think he'll be suspended for 2, maybe 3. But if Tom Brady gets 2 games for this, and the league says basically, we're telling you we're not going to tolerate cheating, and we're not going to tolerate it from a recidivist organization like the Patriots, who 8 years ago were involved in Spygate. No, not too far. Tough but fair.
It's arbitrary. It's capricious. It's completely unjust. They have no particular evidence. They have loosely tied Tom Brady to something, saying he's probably is conversant with something that happened. They have no hard evidence. In a regular court, this would never stand up. This is a kangaroo court. It's not a regular court, so it doesn't have to. You just gave a guy 40 baseball games, 20 basketball games for the crime of stealing signals or watering the base paths. In their own charter, they're
not baseball.
In their own charter, the NFL says this is normally punishable by a $25,000 fine.
Then why did it happen?
I'm gonna go through this. Thank you for that opening. First of all, when you say that the punishment will come down, I think that's mistaken thinking in this regard. I don't think when you're handing out a punishment, you negotiate the punishment. I think you give what you really believe. And I think you give 4 games because you really believe 4 games. I think there's a matter, and we've talked about this, of race in this and convenience in this. I think that Roger Goodell has been he's angered the players with all the people he's put out of the league.
Well, good, yeah.
And a lot of them have been black players. And so the sense of fairness comes about where he says, I can get a quarterback, a golden boy quarterback, and I can show people that I am not just putting a hammer down. I think that goes. There's optics involved in this, Mike.
Let's go back to something.
There's optics.
He's not in a court of law.
Games.
This is not a court of law. Right. People keep using that. It isn't. It's a CBA. And this is a league that holds itself out there, that hammers everybody in the head with integrity of the game.
That's right.
And Tom Brady, listen, Tony, here's something else he can be punished for. He didn't cooperate. Okay, he could have given, we now know from Ted Wells, and I believe Ted Wells, a printout of his stupid text messages. But arrogance has led the Patriots, Belichick, Kraft, Brady to a lot of things. And they basically said, you know what, we're not giving you a damn thing.
That's right.
And so when the punishment blows you away, then you eat it.
Of all of the things that you said, the one I agree with most is that this is finally closure on Spygate. They waited a long time to come back, and they think they're recidivists. Yeah. And even though they didn't have much, they had enough in their minds. I think it's to please the court of public opinion that they did this.
That's what they always do in that league.
Mike,
that's what they did in the case of Ray Rice.
I'm not talking. You know, I don't care what they gave the team. I don't care about that. They just took out a guy for 1/4 of the season.
Golf bet.
No.
2 games.
I hope it goes down to 1 game. But that's not the point. That's not my point.
Okay. All right.
As I told you before, it's not unfair, but I think it's unjust. Nuance, baby.
An English major. Perhaps the most fascinating sidebar to this Brady story is the newly developed beef between former besties Goodell and Kraft. Mike Freeman, writing for Bleacher Report, quotes one club owner as saying the Kraft-Goodell relationship is, quote, pretty much dead, close quote, because of the Deflategate punishments. So Kraft had been propping up Goodell for years in the face of all kinds of criticism. But now that Kraft and his team are the object of punishment, Do you see this costing Goodell his gig?
I think all of this depends on how much juice Robert Kraft still has with the other owners, and that's something I don't know. That's something that I don't know, because when you look at this now, Roger Goodell was, at the draft, was booed by all the fans. Okay. The players hate him.
They do.
All players across the board hate him.
As far as I'm concerned, with pretty good reason.
But the only constituency that really matters is ownership.
That's what
Those guys in a room are the guys that control his destiny. And I think that if Robert Kraft still has sway with the majority of the owners, I think this has cost Roger Goodell his job sooner rather than later. Not next week or anything like that. I can't imagine when his term is up, it will be renewed.
Well, see, imagine this. I agree with everything you said. So I'm going to move it a little bit. This becomes a situation where, I got you your $44 million. Okay? I assisted you in all these things, and now you win against me? Is this what the NFL is? Of course, yes, it is. And most big businesses operate this way. All the other leagues and big businesses of all kinds. But, again, the arrogance in this is unbelievable. You dared cross me. Therefore, with all the other incompetent things you have done or not done in your tenure, and I think it reaches double digits, as you know, with Roger Goodell, this particular act of disloyalty is going to cost you your job. I think it will.
I'll give you the pushback on this. In the last year, year and a half, with Ray Rice, with Greg Hardy, with Adrian Peterson, with stuff like that, Goodell has been the face on all of those things that are failures for the NFL, without question. Now you take out Brady and you anger a particular owner who is said to be a very powerful owner. I'm wondering, did Roger Goodell accurately take the temperature in the room with all the other owners so that he knows,
has some support coming from elsewhere?
He knows he can do this? Because it's very easy to say, you know what, you've made us a lot of money, and we've given you a lot of money, and we're going to move on with a new face for the future of the league. Possible?
Is it gone or not?
Not today.
No, not today.
Yeah, I believe
when this comes up for discussion, soon enough.
I believe so. Do you?
Yeah, I think so.
The Golden State Warriors won the game they had to win last night. In Memphis, they won it easily. Steph Curry had what we like to call a Steph Curry game. 21 points in the first half, 33 overall. The Warriors sagged off Tony Allen, letting him shoot and miss, and they guarded everybody else. Wilbon, is this just one win, or is Golden State back on track?
Both. One win in the playoffs will put you back on track often, especially when you do it like this. I mean, Tony, you mentioned defensively. They got it right. I mean, let's give Steve Kerr some credit here, because I know I was mildly critical of him yesterday. But you can't let Harrison Barnes just be in there by a skinny little self. He's got to have help, and they helped. I mean, they got on Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol and said, we're not going to let you just terrorize us. And then, of course, Steph Curry had a game. He had an MVP game. Yeah. And you combine those things, Tony, and you know, Tony Allen didn't have any kind of game, and his coach only played him 16 minutes. I thought that was a mistake. And so there's some things that Memphis didn't do very well. Do I think that Golden State is just going to cruise automatically through the next two games? I don't. But I think Golden State's now back on track to win this series.
They had to win the game that they had to win.
Had to win this one.
They shot 8 of 17 on open threes. And the fact of the matter is, everybody says they're a jump shooting team. They're a jump shooting team. But if they shoot well, nobody beats them.
That's right.
Because you're trading twos for threes against them most of the time. And so if they have this kind of game, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson have this kind of game.
And bench help. Others help.
If they do, and I would differentiate them from a lot of other teams, if they shoot well, nobody beats them. Because they're that good.
Think of a team that could.
They're deep. Who, you think the Clippers could?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't.
Again,
but maybe.
Not will.
Yeah.
But, Tony, I thought that was a fascinating
big game for them. It's a game they needed.
I think that might have been the most important
down
game.
3-1, it's over.
Well,
it's over.
And that's why last night I think was the most important game of the whole playoffs so far. In that you could look back and say, okay, Clippers, Spurs, but this is the number one seed. Those teams weren't. This is the number one seed in the entire field. They had to win a game last night. First time they were faced with some pressure.
Memphis is a fine team.
Yeah.
But Curry can get 40. Nobody on Memphis can get 40, and Curry can.
No, that's right. I agree with that. The other number one seed, Atlanta, was in just about the same must-win situation, and they delivered on the road, too. This time, the Hawks survived a late-game shot attempt by Paul Pierce to win in Washington, tie the series at 2 apiece. This time, Atlanta's point guards, Jeff Teague and Dennis Schroeder, took advantage of John Wall's absence. Those guys combined for 16 assists. The ball and body movement worked so well through 3 quarters. The Hawks looked like they did in January and February when they won 19 straight. Tony, you trust the Hawks now?
No, neither do you. No, they got 2 things going for them. Okay, that John Wall continues to be out.
That's right.
And that in fairness to them, in their previous series as well against Brooklyn, when they had to win games, they won those games. If I'm going to praise Golden State for winning a game they had to win, I'm going to praise Atlanta. The difference to me is that when Golden State is on its game, it's a great team.
Right.
And when Atlanta's on its game, it's a good team. I mean, I think they're better than maybe we're giving them credit for, but I don't say they take it and run. I don't say that.
I'm going to move back to your position a little bit because at one point I know I took some grief from certain players in the NBA for saying I was drinking the Kool-Aid on Atlanta, and a couple said put the Kool-Aid down because in the playoffs you've got to find out whether they have a person who can lead them. But that's not the way Atlanta plays. They went back to the way they were playing. Tony, what's interesting is Kyle Korver, who was the most high-profile probably of the Atlanta Hawks, has been around for a while. He took 4 shots last night.
Well, he also walked at the end, and they didn't
call that.
They didn't call.
Did you think Pierce was going to hit that shot?
I did. Pierce
sitting
was
there
5 for 6 on threes prior to that moment.
Shot,
He had a wide open look. The night before, when he banged one in at 90 miles an hour, he was draped with guys.
Yeah.
Now, the reason he had a wide open look is because Nene emptied out the entire side
illegal
of
screen?
the Arizona
Are you saying illegal screen?
Line. He just blew people out of it. Yeah, I actually thought that was going. That would have tied the game.
It would have tied it. It would have tied it at 104, I think. But, Tony,
I don't want to minimize Atlanta.
John Wall. Can any team win without their point guard? No team can win without their point guard or their best player.
You can win one game. Which they've done.
Series.
No. The New Orleans Pelicans, who won 45 games and made the playoffs for the first time since Anthony Davis got there 4 years ago, today fired their coach, Monty Williams. 2.5 weeks after the season ended. That's a considerable amount of lag time. Wilbon, did Monty Williams deserve to be fired?
Tony, I'm going to say no, and there's a bias built in here that I should probably admit. I mean,
he's local.
He's a local guy. We watched him play and sort of grow up in the industry of basketball and be a good assistant and become a head coach, and they won 45 games. And I'm thinking, why now? And this is the why now is what we get to, because look, this franchise is all about the most enormous asset that a New Orleans basketball franchise has ever had, all due respect to Chris Paul, who was quite an asset, and it's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis now. And they are figuring out how do we keep him.
Once playing in New Orleans for a little while?
I think of him as a Hawk, but yes, he did. Okay. But it's Anthony Davis, Tone, and can we keep him? Who can keep him? And I'm sorry, I'm gonna bring this name up again, okay? Because Tyreke Evans and Anthony Davis are playing in New Orleans uniforms. Who coached both of them for the brief time they were in college?
John Calipari.
And so I just think there's going to be a move afoot to make them the kind of can't-miss social, cultural scene in New Orleans. So you think they don't think Monty can necessarily do that?
So you think they go after Cal?
Why wouldn't you?
Well, because people are also saying Tom Thibodeau, that they go after him.
Well, Tom Thibodeau gives you a different kind of cachet, but it doesn't give you Cal, even though Tibbs has proven in the league in a greater way than Cal.
Here's what he's proven. He's proven he can play anybody 48 minutes.
Yes,
6 nights a week.
Including Anthony Davis. He can also get to the conference finals, which Cal
Let me ask you this, because when I hear something like this, a guy makes the playoffs for the first time in 4 years, and Anthony Davis is somebody you have to re-sign, it leads me to believe that Anthony Davis may not like Monty Williams. Or else, why would they do this?
Yeah. Well,
is that true?
I think I know of no rift. I don't know of anything that. But you know what? Remember, we thought we knew that Kevin Durant really liked Scott Brooks. When the move was made, he supported management. He supported. You know who's going to pay these guys? Management, not the outgoing, fired young coach who's going to get a job elsewhere.
Let's take a break. It's still to come. Which coach would you rather have tonight? The one who tried to call a timeout he didn't have, or the one who runs his players into the ground?
48 a night, you mean?
Yeah.
And who stands to take a bigger hit if the Rockets lose tonight? James Harden or the boy?
Yeah.
Dwight Howard.
Yeah, he's my boy.
Your boy.
Yeah, for years now, right? He's my boy. Sure.
Geico presents Strange Saving Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Let's play toss-up. Let the weekly round commence. What's first?
Toss-up. Which coach would you rather have tonight? David Blatt or Tom Thibodeau?
I don't want Thibodeau. He's too much of an autocrat. And by the way, he's completely got it wrong on some of his players. The combination of Taj Gibson and Mirotic, who you love.
They should be out there more. I told you that.
They're plus 21 when they're out there, and they're only out there 17 minutes in the whole series. So I suspect I'm going to have to take Blatt. And
really?
Because
you want LeBron throwing it in with a second and a half left?
No.
Or because you want the timeout you don't have?
No to both, because I want a team where LeBron says, we're not listening to you, and I will just take over. And by the way, you know what? Both of these guys could lose their jobs. They could.
It's hard for me to see Blatt losing his job. After
LeBron
1
has
year.
no use for him.
But he doesn't have to. He could just
He
tell
doesn't
T.
want
Lue, we'll do the play calling from here on in the rest of this game, which is what should have happened anyway, which is evident now. Look, the one thing I think Tibbs has to do to win this game tonight, and they got to win tonight, because if they don't win tonight and they win Game 6, they're not winning Game 7 against LeBron and LeBron land. He's got to play the combinations of players, particularly the one you talked about.
Next.
Toss-up, whose reputation is more at stake tonight? Dwight Howard's or James Harden's?
This is a trick question, right? Because Dwight Howard has no reputation at the moment.
It's been
In the
gone for
last
2
game
years.
where they really needed him, down 2-1, he had 7 points, fouled out,
And got
then
ejected.
got tossed
Got
out,
tossed.
and was a cool minus 28 on the plus
But he's
minus.
averaging 17, 13, and 2 or 3 block shots.
Does he have a reputation anymore?
Yes.
As what?
A guy you don't want.
Okay.
I hate to say that,
And-
but that's what it is among
and
his
Harden-
peers. His
Harden's
peers.
averaging 25 a game in this series, so how could you question Harden?
You can question Harden, because Harden's head hasn't been where it ought to be. He ought to be averaging 35. Harden's that talented. He's been pouting because he didn't get the MVP. You want to prove to people you should have been the MVP? Play like it. You're right about Dwight Howard. Even 17, 13, and 3. Has a guy fallen any further than in the NBA Finals to just like his peers don't even want him? Unbelievable.
Next.
Toss-up, who you got tonight? The Canadians or the Lightning?
If I understand the series correctly, Tampa Bay was up 3-0. And at that point, they had beaten the Canadians 8 in
straight.
a row this year.
8 straight.
Then they lost 2 in a row,
Right.
And then you begin to get scared.
In
at that
Tampa,
point.
in Montreal,
Right.
and now we're back to
So
Tampa
now
for Game
if they
6.
don't win this game,
Right.
then they have to go back to Montreal for Game 7, with Montreal having won 3 in a row. They're not going to win that Game 7. So I think they have to win tonight. I've watched this with the Capitals.
Got to win with Ryan
Up 3-1,
Callahan out.
and then you lose 2 in a row. They've got to go to New York
Ryan
for Game
Callahan
7.
having had an emergency appendectomy.
That's
Tampa
tough.
out.
They have to win.
Listen, when this thing got to 3-1, P.K. Subban looked into a camera and said, we are going to be a different team, period. He didn't say he didn't guarantee wins. Different team. They've been a different team. I trust
You picked
Kerry
them
in a
all
Game
wrong.
6, 7. I picked
You picked
Montreal to
them
go
all
to the finals in
Picked
the
them
East.
all.
So
Next.
Last one, toss-up, better fashion taste. John Wall or J.R. Smith?
John Wall wore this outfit. That's missing the red pants. He's got red
that's
pants
custom
underneath.
made. That's custom made.
By who?
I don't know John's guy.
Yeah, he's got red pants underneath. Now, J.R. Smith, and I learned this today, is a bit of a fashion play.
He is.
And apparently won an
Very
award
stylish.
for fashion in
Very
New York during
stylish
the
J.R.
All-Star
Smith,
game.
he is.
I looked at the red pants and the outfit Wall had.
You liked it?
I thought it was okay. I wouldn't have worn it. I thought it was age appropriate. You know, a young man might wear something like that.
John Wall, the previous 2 games of the series, he didn't play in 2 and 3. He was as well dressed as any young player in the league has ever been. He's sartorially resplendent. He is channeling like Alonzo Mourning and Juwan Howard, some of the best dressed players.
J.R.
But
Smith-
last night was a little young
J.R.
for
Smith,
me.
let me give you the tweet. Jay Wall, your suit, though. What was he thinking? Terrible. Do you agree with that? Terrible?
No, it was young for me. But John Wall, a very well-dressed guy.
Well, who you got in this? You got J.R. Smith and John
I
Wall.
I like the way John Wall dressed. Versatility, Holmes.
That's it.
Versatility from John
You
Wall.
saw it. Wilbon taps out. Let's take one last break, but still to come. Michigan self-reports several violations under Jim Harbaugh. That's quick.
Already?
That's
Been
quick.
there 6 minutes. And is dribbling Ben Franklin a good choice for the Sixers' new logo?
Sixers shouldn't be allowed to have a logo. They shouldn't be in the league.
Didn't that look
if there
like-
was a living, breathing commissioner,
Stop.
they wouldn't be in
That
the league.
looked like Jack Ramsey like 40 years ago. Remember when Jack Ramsey had the longer hair?
ESPN Radio.
With the action on the court, the diamond, or the gridiron,
Comes alive.
the NBA.
The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
Major League Baseball.
San Francisco Giants are the champions of the baseball world.
The new college football playoff.
College football playoff national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Your home for the best in sports play-by-play.
ESPN Radio.
Happy time, people. Happy 90th birthday, Yogi Berra. The great catcher on the great Yankee teams in the late 40s and 50s. The battery of Whitey Ford and Yogi Berra is the best the Yankees ever had. Wilbon, I have an autographed baseball from the 1947 Yankees in which Yogi signs with his given name, Larry Berra.
That's a pretty good keepsake. You're not putting that on eBay.
No.
My favorite Yogiism, quote, I never said most of the stuff I said. Close quote.
Yeah, well.
That might be my favorite. He's got a lot out there.
Happy anniversary, New York Knicks. On this day 30 years ago, the Knicks won the first NBA draft lottery. That lottery was, of course, fixed so the Knicks can get Patrick Ewing.
That was Patrick
Next
Ewing.
Tuesday's lottery will be fixed so the Knicks and Lakers can get Jahlil Okafor and Karl Anthony Towns, and you will see.
Why do the Knicks rate ahead of the Lakers?
They're both getting what they want. It's fixed for both of them this year. It's
Now
the
you get
boy
it.
Adam Silver. Call him up. Happy
You said
trails
that.
to the old
You
Sixers
said
logo.
that.
The primary logo is essentially the same, but the secondary logo is what we need to talk about. It has Ben Franklin dribbling with his left hand.
Look at that.
And I love Ben Franklin because my kid went to Penn. And I don't want to be a stickler here, but when Ben Franklin was alive, there was no basketball, so there's a little bit of a reach, don't you think?
Yeah, historically relevant teams like the Sixers and Celtics and the Lakers, they shouldn't be allowed to change logos or jerseys or anything less. You'd be like the Cleveland Browns, and you do the dumbest thing with your uniforms any franchise has ever done. Cleveland Browns.
Well, there are no errors today, as always, and we run out of show, so we go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Michigan reported 4 secondary violations to the NCAA under new coach Jim Harbaugh. Is that something or nothing?
Nothing. Secondary violations, other coaches out there, like all of them, they'll be glad to report Jim Harbaugh if they think he's committed a major violation. Bobby Bowden tells Paul Feinbaum he thinks most Florida State fans think Jameis Winston, quote, was an embarrassment in a lot of ways to the university, close quote. Your thoughts?
I didn't hear him say that the 2 years that Jameis Winston was on the field. It may be true, but it seems a little late to make that judgment. Barry Bonds is planning to sue Major League Baseball for collusion and keeping him out of baseball after his 2007 season. Does he have a case?
Barry Bonds has no case about anything against baseball. The Jags signed the injured Dante Fowler to a 4-year deal, $23.5 million, fully guaranteed. Your thoughts?
They probably had to do it under the rule, but it's a good faith gesture, and it guarantees the kids the money. Last one, the Rockies have lost 9 in a row. Will they beat the Angels tonight?
No, Tony, they got Kyle Kendrick going tonight. He's already coached for 9.
Not great. Not great.
Not
We're
a
out of
streak
time.
breaker.
We'll try and do better the next time, and I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knucklehead. Check out the podcast on iTunes. It is a ball night and a puck night.
J.R. Smith, send us some product. If you dress so nicely, send some of it to us and
They are stylish.
They are stylish.
Two of baseball's best go head-to-head in interleague action when the Tigers head to St. Louis to face the Cardinals.
That one is gone.
The pregame at 7 Eastern, first pitch at 8, Sunday on ESPN and ESPN Radio.